I played 100 days of Stardew Valley and made millions. Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome back to another 100 days Stardew Valley challenge. The challenge for this video is simple: to make as much money as possible. Let's check out the goals we would like to achieve in this video. The first goal is to obtain the gold clock. And the second goal is to obtain all 4 warp obelisks. So let's jump straight into this video and let's have some fun. I'd love to become a full-time YouTuber and release big videos like this every week. You can help by subscribing to my channel and liking my videos. Thanks. Huge thanks to my channel members. Thanks so much for supporting me, everyone. Day number 1. Strap yourselves in and prepare to be amazed by some of the best money-making tactics you will ever see. Let's see how much money we can make by the end of the first year. Despite the fact that this video is a 100-day style video, I'll be playing through one whole year of this game. So the first day starts as per usual with cutting down trees, making a chest, searching the grounds for forageables, and of course giving an artifact to Gunther for that extra 250 gold. We're then going to spend all our money on parsnip seeds here from Pierre, and we're going to plant those straight back into the farm. For the rest of the day, once everything is planted, we're going to cut down some trees in the hopes to increase our foraging skill as quickly as possible. Level 1 foraging means we can now make wild spring seeds. They're going to come in super handy later on for tea saplings. We'll be absolutely abusing those in spring. So I'm going to make 20 more wild seeds today. I'm going to hoe up the ground, plant those, and we're going to try to befriend Caroline now as quickly as possible to get her to 2 hearts. We're also going to go to Willy, but we're going to get the training rod today. We're going to use this to increase the odds of getting perfect catches on fish, to dramatically increase our fishing skill as quickly as possible. What we want here is a fishing skill of 2, so we can purchase a fiberglass rod off Willy, which yields much better loot when it comes to the treasure chests that you can get from fishing. The lake area is a fantastic spot to fish, so we're going to spend the rest of the day up here pulling up as much fish as we can. The next day is a rainy day, of course, so we are going to be prioritizing catfish. The catfish is a very difficult catch, especially with a low fishing level, but there are things you can do to make it a bit easier. Trout soup off Willy is a good strategy to use as well. Speaking of which, we're now going to buy a trout soup off Willy along with a fiberglass rod. I just have about enough money to get both items. The rest of the money will be spent on bait to increase fishing bite rate. The more fish we can get, the more money we're going to make. The current strategy of spring is to get enough money to buy strawberries. We're also going to go to Georgia route because we want to fill up a greenhouse with strawberries in spring. Level 5 fishing, of course, we're going to get the fisher perk. Fish worth more money. I'm also going to go to Pierre today and purchase kale. It's a magnificent crop that has really good profit margins. I got very lucky today and now I did some more fishing. I pulled up a diamond and a jade ring. Critical strike power increased by 10%. The next day we have another rainy day, so the first thing we're going to do is pull up all of these parsnips. We're going to sell those, then it's back to fishing again for catfish. I got super lucky today and I managed to pull up an iridium band. This is one of the best rings you can get in the game, especially early to mid tier. There are rings in my opinion better than this, but it all comes down to what kind of combat build you're going for. In terms of general utility rings, the iridium band is a lovely piece of jewellery indeed. So for the rest of the day we are going to be pulling up catfish, and anything in between comes our way, we'll nab that too and sell it. So at the end of the day we get level 1 farming. What's great here now is the proficiencies. The more proficient we get with the tool, the less energy we use while using that tool. I also got level 2 farming. I can make regular sprinklers. We're not going to bother with those. We're going to save the resources for quality sprinklers later. So we're gifting Caroline here daffodils. Now we can gift her twice per week, but we can talk to her every single day. And we get some extra bonus friendship points for talking to her every single day. And those extra points will add up, especially when it comes to pushing her to 2 hearts as quickly as possible. Now sometimes I might wait until the end of the week to give her the second daffodil in the hopes to get a silver or gold star quality daffodil so I get more friendship points. I also picked up a backpack upgrade today because I had some money. That means more inventory slots for me. With the money I had left over, I decided to purchase more crops, so we're going to get more kale now today. I'm going to get a total of 133 pieces of kale. That does mean a lot of watering for me, but that will pay off significantly in a couple of days when I get to sell all that kale for huge profits. And this is going to be the general tactic in spring. We're going to be doing a lot of fishing, a lot of farming, and the odd dungeon crawl here and there just to get down to the lower sections so we can get that lovely iron and gold ores to make quality sprinklers. But the big resource that's going to really change the game up for us later on, believe it or not, will be copper. But we'll come back to that later on in the video. Level 1 mining, we can now make cherry bombs. They will come in very handy later on. We're also going to start donating items to Gunther. I was lucky enough to pick up an ancient seed here. To get one this early in spring is extremely lucky. This ancient seed will grow into an ancient fruit, and we can use seed makers later on to replicate those to make giant ancient fruit farms. Level 10 in the mines, we get the leather boots, and we're going to put them on this time because we're not doing the vegan challenge. Make sure to check out my 100-day vegan video if you haven't watched it yet. It is quite the blast to watch. Level 1 combat at the end of the day. The next day, my first batch of forageables have fully grown. I'm going to harvest all these forageables and I'm going to turn them all into the community center to get back 30 free spring seeds. I'm going to plant those back in the farm and we're going to rinse and repeat that method until we have hundreds and hundreds of spring forageables at the end of the season. I managed to get a wood club today inside of a crate. This is a magnificent weapon to start the cave crawling with. It is an AoE weapon. It can make quick work of most of the enemies in the regular mines, including the enemies on the lower levels. The next day, it was time to harvest our first batch of kale. Not only does kale sell for lots of money, it also yields tons of farming XP, and we wanted to push our farming skill to 6 as quickly as possible. Back into the mines, we're now on the dark floors. Because we have the iridium band, we have that lovely glow, making this floor much easier than what it normally is. It was time to craft a bug stick because my energy was really low, and I was on floor 33. But I got really lucky, I killed a fly, that unlocked the ladder, I was able to get down to floor 35 and get that lovely checkpoint before the day came to an end. The next day, we were visited by none other than Demetrius. He gives us an option here between a bat and a mushroom cave. We're going to go with the mushrooms because we can harvest these mushrooms every single day. And these mushrooms can be really good for health and energy. We can also sell them too if we need extra bits of money. For the rest of the day, I spent it fishing because today was the 11th and the strawberry event was coming up very soon, so I wanted to get a lot more money together to purchase on strawberries. I got very lucky with some of the chests, got an emerald ring and a diamond. That diamond will be sold because it's 750 gold that I can actually use. Later on, I can donate it to Gunther and even trade them in for triple shot espressos, but for now, anything like that will be sold for money. So we're harvesting kale and it's a rainy day, which is great. I can spend the entirety of today fishing up more catfish. I got level 5 farming at the end of the day thanks to that lovely kale harvest. I'm going to go with tiller. Crops were 10% more, that's a no-brainer right there. I also got level 6 farming. I can now make quality sprinklers. But in order to craft them, I need iron and gold bars, so I had to make more progress in the mines. I'm at almost 22,000 gold today, primarily from selling the kale, and I got some fish and minerals in there as well, so it was a very good day in terms of money making. The next day I purchased 108 strawberries off Pierre. I could have purchased more. The reason why I only purchased this amount is because I'm going to get a greenhouse and fill it up with those strawberry seeds. I also won the straw hat, of course, so that's going to be a whole new look for my farmer. The next day, we're going to start with our daily ritual of going into our mushroom cave to collect all our lovely mushrooms. We're then going to spam the entirety of the map looking for fibre and other bits and bobs on the ground such as forageables. I also got a salmon dinner out of a bin here just outside Gus's. Now that is a loved gift for Alex, but I'm going to sell that because I need the money. I also got Georgia membership today off Morris. It costs 5,000 gold, but the Georgia route is the way to go if you want to make millions of gold in your first year. I also gave Robin her last axe, 250 gold in the bag. I also visited Marlon today and I sold him rings and weapons that I didn't need just to get that extra bit of money. There's no point having weapons and rings in your chest if you're never going to use them. You might as well just sell them to Marlon. The rest of the day was spent fishing. I was getting bullheads, carp, chubs and the occasional largemouth bass, which is actually a pretty nice profitable fish. So I finally made it into Caroline's sunroom. It doesn't really matter what response you give her there, she'll still give you the recipe for the tea sapling. So the rest of the day I spent literally going through the whole farm trying to get as much fibre as possible. Because one of the main resources you need to make tea saplings is fibre. So the next day I finally get the tea sapling recipe. Now it is time to bring on the money. But first, I'm going to harvest all of these lovely spring forageables. So I'm going to turn some of these spring forageables back into spring wild seeds. I'm going to plant those back in the ground. Others will be converted into tea saplings. I made 85 tea saplings in total. I'm going to sell all those to Pierre, bringing me up to 74,000 gold. With all that money, I decided to take the final backpack upgrade right here and now, so I wouldn't have to worry about that later. I'm then going to visit Morris, and I am going to get the greenhouse. 35,000 gold for the unlock. It is absolutely worth it. We can fill this beautiful building up with strawberries. We're going to visit Clint. It's time to upgrade some tools. We're going to start with the pickaxe, of course. Getting a copper pickaxe will mean that I can make it down to floor 120 without too much hassle. It was then back to Pierre. I could have bought hundreds of kale, but I had to factor in time and energy, so I just bought 100 off him. Right now, we don't want to spend the whole day just watering crops. The rest of the day was spent fishing, and the reason why I'm fishing so much right now is because I'm trying to get level 10 before spring ends, so if I'm lucky enough, I might get a crack off the legend and catch that. That is worth a huge amount of money. So this is our greenhouse, filled up with strawberry seeds. I left spots there for sprinklers later. It was another rainy day today. I'm getting very lucky with rainy days actually. And I spent the whole day pulling up as much catfish as possible. I also visited Morris today. It was time for another upgrade. Now I had 23,000 gold, so the only real choice there was the minecarts, and I went for the minecarts straight away. The bridge or the bus would have been nice, but I needed more money. But the minecarts mean fast travelling, and that means I can get around the map much faster, and that's a great time saver. So because I unlocked the greenhouse, Evelyn gives me the garden pot. That's a game changer right there. We get our lovely copper pickaxe off Clint. It's time to upgrade another tool. This time we're going to go with the axe upgrade. The more we upgrade our axe, the less swings it's going to take to cut down trees. We also need to now focus in on hardwood collection. So getting that axe upgraded to a steel axe as quickly as possible is definitely the way to go in terms of general progression on this farm. So it's back down into the mines, and I got really lucky here with a huge cluster of iron ores. I'm going to harvest all these and make my way down to the next floor. I'm trying to get down to the gold ores now as quickly as I can. All of these dust sprites were a miracle in disguise, as they all have a chance of dropping coffee beans, but they also drop coal, and hundreds and thousands of coal will be needed if we're going to make millions and millions of gold by the end of this challenge. So we're still using the wood club. We haven't got a better weapon yet, but the wood club is holding its own. These are mid-tier blue slimes. They have a lot of HP, but the wood club does them in just a few swings easy enough. Got it down to a spiral floor here, floor 59. I do manage to make it to floor 60, but it did take a great amount of time. I also got a diamond today, which is great. We made it down to floor 80 and picked up the firewalker boots. Now I'm skipping most of the floors that I go down because nothing really great happened. I will show floor 81 here though, as this is going to be a farming floor that we will be using for a lot of days in this challenge. Level 5 mining. Miner is always the way to go with these challenges. The +1 ore per vein is a game changer. That means we can smelt more bars to make more items. It was now time to make quality sprinklers, just needed more refined quartz. But I had lots of fire quartz there in the chest, so we get processing on those pretty quickly. It was time to have a look at the travelling cart merchant's wares. The merchant sold a rare seed. I bought that now because I could use it now because I had the garden pot. Now you can't put ancient seeds in there, but you can put rare seeds in there. And that means an earlier start job for me later on. So I got my copper axe off Clint today, but we weren't finished with Clint. I had the money, it was time to upgrade another tool. I'm going to go with the steel axe upgrade straight away. That means I'll be able to get into the secret woods as quickly as possible. Got the obsidian edge on floor 90. That is actually a magnificent weapon, and it's probably one of the best weapons you can get before you get your hands on the galaxy weapons. When I made it down to floor 100 here, I got the star job. That's my first one of many, and that increases my maximum energy, which comes in real handy later on when it comes to watering tons and tons of crops and doing other energy draining activities. Look at all this lovely kale I got to harvest today. I'm going to make 16 quantity sprinklers, put those down in the greenhouse. Our greenhouse is now more or less fully automated. All we have to do is come in here every 4 days and collect our huge harvest of strawberries. We're now on floor 110. We got the space boots. Now these are the best boots you can get before you get into Skull Caverns and before you get over to Ginger Island. But we will get much better boots later on in the video. This is just the start of our lovely armor adventures. So we're now down on floor 118. We're going to get down to floor 120 today, and we're going to get the Skull Key. We can now do Skull Cavern runs with this. But the first thing we have to do is unlock the bus. And that means we need money. Now we get level 5 combat here. I'm going to go with Fighter. All attacks do 10% more damage. Combine that with our Iridium Band, and our attacks now deal a bonus 20% extra damage. So this now is going to be one of the last harvests we're going to do with spring forageables, because 23rd now of spring, we're getting into summer quite soon. So I'm at 170 spring wild seeds right there. More will follow, of course. So I'm going to purchase just 100 parsnips today, because they only take 4 days to grow, and I want one last batch of crops before summer hit, just to make some extra profit. I got the steel axe off Clint. Super happy with that. I'm always super happy with Clint, aren't I? We're going to go for the steel axe upgrade right now. That would be, in my opinion, the minimum requirement for Skull Cavern, as a steel axe takes the same amount of swings as a gold axe when you go to the Skull Cavern nodes. 2 swings and you clear a node. So we're now going to get rid of all these tree stumps. All of this hardwood is super welcome. We need 200 hardwood to fix the hull and Willy ship to get to Ginger Island. So it's definitely worth collecting it now. The great thing about the Secret Woods is that these stumps respawn every single day. Level 5 foraging, we will take Gatherer, chance for the double harvest on a foraged item. That's a no-brainer for us when it comes to making money. We went to the Flower Dance Festival today, and we only went there to primarily get the dandelions, the daffodils, and the rare crow. It's always worth picking those up, because you can make a lot more spring wild seeds. All you need are 2 other forageables, and you can just go to town and more tea saplings. It is now time for a new Flower Dance Queen. I was going to take Hades' crown and become the new ultimate flower dancer. Just look at my character go. Nobody could keep up with my mad farmer skills. Look at our lovely batch of strawberries. This will be the first of many harvests. And the great thing about this batch is that if we ever need some change every couple of days, we can always rely on the strawberries. Especially when it comes to tool upgrades, or when it comes to purchasing bursts of crops here and there. They also help with community development projects. So we're going to go with the bus today, 40,000 gold, but the sooner we get that unlocked the better, because we can do Skull Cavern runs. The rest of the day was spent fishing, because I needed money to get some prep done. The first thing I needed was healable food from Gus, so I could survive in the Skull Cavern. Now, I only went with 30 salads today, but that would be enough for the first run. We weren't going to get super deep with limited resources. It was then back to fishing again. Emeralds and geodes, things like that, would now be saved. I would have to start giving things to Gunther. I need to start thinking about getting access to the swords now as quickly as possible, so I get my hands in that statue of uncertainty. So it was time to go to the Desert Trader today to get some triple shot espressos and spicy eels. It was then time for Skull Cavern runs. Gold ores, iron ores, iridium ores were all on the table for us. All ores would be smelted and used for the purpose of making money. If they weren't sold directly, they'd be used to make resources and machines, and they would make more money. So I received a lucky ring today, and I could not believe it when it happened. This is the rarest ring in the game. It gives a permanent +1 to luck, as long as you have that ring equipped. It is one of the most overpowered rings in the game. The luck factor in Stardew Valley can greatly determine the success of a run. Getting a lucky ring this early will be an absolute game changer. And the luck has started. That is our very first prismatic shard. That can be swapped in for a galaxy sword, and that is one of the strongest weapons in the game until of course you get to Ginger Island. But for now we will absolutely take it. The final day of spring, and what a season it was. It's time to collect the last huge batch of spring forageables. All of these will be turned into spring wild seeds, and they will be turned into tea saplings and sold to make even more money. I made a total of 450 spring wild seeds today. What a haul it was. All I needed was wood and fibre to turn those into tea saplings. It was now time to battle the legend fish today. So we're going to come fully prepared for this. We're going to get the iridium rod. We get that so we can hook up trap bobbers to it. This makes fishing much easier in my opinion. Without the trap bobber, some fish are just impossible to catch. I'm also going to get trout soup and bait. Trout soup to increase my fishing skill from 10 to 11, which makes my fishing bar that little much bigger. and we need all the help we can get when it comes to fighting the legend. The legend is one of the hardest, if not the hardest, fish to catch in the game. Some people say the glacier fish is harder. I say they're of equal difficulty. This is the second bout we had with the legend today, and it was easy enough to catch this time. RNG was on our side. Maybe it was the effects of the lucky ring. That was a legend fish in the bag. Gold star with the fishing perks comes in at 11,250 gold. So we can sell that today. We'll have that in our wallet tomorrow. The rest of the day was spent farming floor 81 for fibre and for the general resources. If I saw gold ores, normally I take those as well. If I saw enemies like this, I would slay them. You never know what you might get. So after farming this floor for the whole day, it was time to make some tea saplings. Let's see how much we can make. As you can see, I made over 70 tea saplings, 71 in total. Sold all those. Also got 10,000 gold from Mr. Key for making it past 425 in the Skull Cavern. So we had 78,000 gold ready to go for Starfruit. We also had the yield from our lovely greenhouse. So we're going to sell all those strawberries now to Pierre because we want the gold today. That brings us up to 95,000 gold. We're then going to go to the desert. We're going to swap in our prismatic shard for the galaxy sword, which is a magnificent weapon, and it is a weapon we will be using for the rest of the challenge. It does trivialize a lot of enemies in the game. We're then going to visit Sandy, and we're going to spend all of our money on Starfruit seeds. If we want to make millions of gold in this challenge, if we want the gold clock and all 4 warp obelisks, we need thousands upon thousands of Starfruit. The tactic for summer was simple: to make as much money as possible and to buy as much Starfruit as possible. Secondary goals were making processing machines. Of course, if we can't process the Starfruit, we're not going to make the big money. So we also had to think about setting up tree farms, setting up tappers, making tons and tons of kegs. I'm also going back to the secret woods every single day to get hardwood. I need 200 in total, so that when the time comes to fix Willy's ship, I'll have the resources available straight away. I finally got level 7 foraging. That's a game changer. That means I can make tree fertilizer. Level 9 farming is an interesting level because you can make iridium sprinklers, and that is something we will consider later on in the challenge. But the big gain today was the tree fertilizer. This item is an absolute game changer, and it is needed in order to make millions of gold. Because when it comes to making kegs, when it comes to making the big money, it all boils down to the basic resources such as copper, iron, gold, and wood, of course. So we're farming for 81 again today because the fibre gain that you get from this floor is just amazing, and I wanted to make more tree fertilizers and I wanted to make more tea saplings to get more money. So today we're going to use all the fibre to make tree fertilizers, and I'm going to make a little tree farm here beside the house, and all of these trees are going to be oak trees. They will be equipped with tappers for oak resins. I'm also going to fix the bridge today, just 300 pieces of wood, because I wanted access to the summer legendary fish, the crimson fish. This fish will sell for a few thousand gold, and we need all the gold we can muster. The rest of the day was spent just primarily fishing as well. Puffer fish do sell for really nice money. I also fished up a sturgeon too. That would be great for the luau later on. That's one of the best things you can put into the soup. And that was also a gold star sturgeon as well. 15,000 gold made by the end of today, primarily from fishing, which wasn't too shabby at all. Fishing can get a lot more lucrative later on if specific builds are used in specific locations. It was back down to 481 today. We're farming for fibre again. Fibre was needed badly for tree fertilizers and for tea saplings. Right now, tea saplings were probably the best way to make quick bursts of money, and I wanted to unlock all of the Joja bundles as quickly as possible so I can get into Ginger Island and make use of that second farm. That second farm is more or less a giant greenhouse. Selling 95 tea saplings is definitely the way to go to accelerate progression and unlock those Joja bundles. I also sold other items too that I found on the floor, such as minerals and mushrooms and things like that. Over 60,000 gold was made that day. And here we go again. The strawberries were ready to go, and they will be ready every 4 days. That's why it's so important to try your best to get the greenhouse set up in spring and to fill it up with a crop that just regrows all the time. So you're just going to make infinite profits. It's time for another community unlock. We're going to go with the bridge. This means we can access the quarry and the resources that lie within. A gold pickaxe upgrade, thank you very much Clint, we'll have that in just a couple of days. And it was back into the secret woods to farm more hardwood and get that foraging skill up. So I visited Marlin today to sell him weapons I didn't need anymore. They were just using up space inside of my chests. So while I was up in this area, I said, you know what, let's just sell him some weapons and make some extra money while we're here. I'm also making a little summer forage patch over there. That will become much bigger as the days and weeks progress. It was time to unlock the last George bundle. We're going to go with panning. That's all the bundles now unlocked. We can now get access to Willie's ship once we fully repair it, of course. So today we are exploring the quarry cave. We get the lovely golden scythe at the end of this cave, which is a really nice upgrade from that of the regular scythe. It has a much greater range on it, it does more damage, and it has a much greater yield when it comes to collecting resources. So I had some mahogany seeds today. I'm going to plant those. I'm also going to put tree fertilizer on those too so they grow up very quickly because I needed a lot more hardwood to get that hull fixed for Willie. I also got a really nice event here from Joja. They're going to give me a Joja machine which generates a free Joja cola every single day for completing all the Joja bundles. I picked up an ancient seed off the travelling cart. That was very nice indeed. I'm also going to purchase 5 rare seeds off the travelling cart merchant as well because I can put those over to Ginger Island and you can get really nice profits from those. I collected my gold pickaxe off Clint today. We're now going to give him another tool to upgrade, and this time it's going to be an axe upgrade. We're going to give him the steel axe to be upgraded to a gold axe. I made 47 tappers today. They will be the first of many batches of tappers made. I'm going to put those in all of these trees to start making oak resins so we can start our lovely production on kegs. Starfruit wine is the way to go for making money. The crimson fish isn't the hardest fish in summer. The octopus is the big baddie that you have to watch out for. It is by far one of the hardest fish to catch in the game. It is insanely hard to catch. The super cucumber is difficult, but it's not that hard if you have trap bobbers. A gold star super cucumber sells for over 550 gold. A great money maker when it comes to fishing in summer. Unfortunately, they don't pop up until the evening time, but when they do pop up, it's worth fishing them up out of the water and selling them. The next day, it was time for the first batch of summer forageables. You only need 3 summer forageables to make summer wild seeds, grapes, spice berries, and sweet peas. Just 3 items needed, so we end up with thousands, I mean thousands of summer wild seeds by the end of the season. This was crazy when you see the amount that we're going to eventually start making. The strawberries have come back again, and when you're playing a challenge like this, it's amazing how quickly the 4 days comes around, and before you know it, the strawberries are back. You've got between 20 to 35,000 gold in your pocket, ready to spend on whatever you want, whether it be tool upgrades like the copper watering can that we're going to get there, or if we need to unlock future bundles, for example, or if we just need money in general to get crops or to buy other resources off the many vendors around Stardew Valley. So we're clearing the quarry of resources today. We're setting up a massive tree farm. We won't be putting tappers on these trees. This is just going to be a wood farm. Now we could buy wood off Robin, but at the moment I needed all the money I could get for Starfruit. Didn't want to waste money on wood. We're doing a Skull Cavern run today. The deeper we can get now, the better. And what we want here now are battery packs for iridium sprinklers. We also want iridium ores for iridium bars, and we can sell those bars for lots of money. Any bonus prismatic shards we get for now will be sold, because they sell for 2,000 gold a piece, which is really nice. So I got level 9 mine that can make crystallariums. I don't end up making crystallariums. Instead, resources are put towards iridium sprinklers and kegs. So we go to the luau the next day. A gold star sturgeon is probably one of the best things you can put in the soup. We get the best reaction from the governor, and that is going to yield the most friendship points you can get from all of the Stardew Valley NPCs that drink the soup. The next day, we are smelting ores into bars. So we need iron bars, and we also need copper bars and oak resins and wood for kegs. So those resources become very important, especially later on in the video. We get the copper watering can off Clint. Now I got the watering can because I need it for Ginger Island. It's just handy having an upgraded watering can when it comes to traversing the volcano dungeon. You know, it's much handier than that of a regular watering can. I fixed the boat by giving iridium bars, battery packs and hardwood. We're then going to go to Clint and we're going to get him to break open all these geodes because I wanted to get the key to the sewers so I could get access to Krobus and get access to his wares, and so that I could also get access to the Statue of Uncertainty. We also needed a sword key in order to get the magical ink, so we could access the Wizard's Terminal so we could actually get the gold clock. That's if we get the gold clock by the end of this video. It is going to be very hard to accumulate 10 million gold to buy a gold clock, and to do that in year 1 sounds impossible, but we have got some very good strategies. So that's just a cool scene there of Willy and Robin fixing up the boat. That means we can have access to Ginger Island. Before we go anywhere though, we're going to harvest our strawberries, smelt iridium ores into bars, and we're going to upgrade our hoe to a copper hoe. Now that hoe is being upgraded for a very specific reason, and you'll find out very soon why we're upgrading the hoe. This challenge would be nigh impossible to do without an upgraded hoe. 1000 gold for a ticket to Ginger Island is quite expensive, but it's worth it, and it is necessary. If we want to get the most out of this 1 year challenge, we need to use the farm on Ginger Island. The great thing about the Ginger Island farm is that you can plant any crop on the farm regardless of what season it is. Think of it as a giant greenhouse farm. To make progression in Ginger Island, we need to find golden walnuts. These are used to unlock areas in Ginger Island. So the more walnuts we find, the more areas we can unlock, the more of the island we can explore, the more resources we can get our hands on. The volcano dungeon is a dungeon you can do every single day in Stardew Valley. It resets every day and it has new chests, new prizes, the enemies respawn. It's a great place to farm when it comes to farming for resources such as stone, copper, gold, pieces of iridium, and of course cinder shards, which we need to enchant gear and weapons. So the big turtle has been felled by the vicious parrots. I don't care what people say, those parrots are vicious, but that's just my opinion. It was time to clear all of the resources now on that Ginger Island farm to get it prepped for crops. Level 10 farming, we're going to go with agriculturist. Crops grow 10% faster. We can always swap over to Artisan when it's time to sell Artisan goods. The 10% growth rate is too good to pass up now, especially this early in the challenge. So we're going to get our first batch of Starfruit today. None of that will be sold directly. That will all be processed with kegs. Time to make our first batch of kegs as well. 40 kegs in total. So if I keep up with the resources, I can now make 40 kegs every few days once those oak resins become available. That is not enough to make over 10 million gold and to get those lovely items. We will need thousands of kegs for this challenge to actually be completed. So I'm buying more Starfruit now. I've sent it today with the money that I have accumulated. That's going to go right back into the Stardew Valley farm. But I'm also going to get Starfruit and put it over on the Ginger Island farm also. And the great thing about the Ginger Island farm is that we can grow Starfruit on that for the whole year. So the earlier you unlock that farm, the better. Fishing around the sea area here in summer is actually very profitable. When it comes to fishing in summer, the sea area is by far the most profitable area. I also buy more Starfruit seeds off Sandy today, but they're going over to Ginger Island. This is the South Gembird because it's located at the south part of Ginger Island, so it goes on the south pedestal, and that's how you beat the puzzle. You have to find a total of 4 Gembirds. They only pop up on rainy days, so if you do get a rainy day, it's always worth just transversing Ginger Island. The map isn't actually that big, there's just a few screens in the island. Because I got my hoe back, I could now hoe up all of the golden walnuts I missed the first time I got here. I needed 20 golden walnuts in total to unlock the house so I could stay on Ginger Island every single day. If I don't get that house upgraded, passing out will start you over back on Stardew Valley, so you have to pay 1000 gold again to Willy to get back over to Ginger Island. I didn't really need the house at the moment. I could still grow crops on the farm, I just couldn't sleep over on the island. But we'll fix that now in the next few days. It was time to do some more work on our primary farm, so I planted more summer forageables, made some tea saplings, sold those, and I finally had enough golden walnuts to fix up the house on Ginger Island. It was now time for another dungeon volcano run, and you can get a total of 5 golden walnuts from mining in the volcano. You can get 5 from combat, you can get 5 from the chests, and there's a few other bits and pieces of ones hanging out of trees and whatnot. You also get a free prismatic shard when you make it up to floor 10 for the very first time, which is nice. We're going to use that now to enchant our weapon here. What we get here now is Haymaker, and this is a blessing in disguise, because when it comes to farming fibre, Haymaker will see to it that our fibre gains are increased. So using Haymaker on a weapon and farming floor 81 in the regular mines is a great way to get yourself hundreds and hundreds of fibre. We also freed Professor Snail so we could have a go at these archaeology quests, and we needed to do those in order to get over 100 golden walnuts to get into Key's secret walnut room. So there's 2 freebie quests he gives you here, and it's just the island survey reports, and it's the same answer every single time you start up a save file. So if you're not too sure on how many flowers or starfish they are, just give it a Google and you'll find out straight away. So we're hunting for more golden walnuts now today, and I managed to get enough to unlock the Ginger Island Trader. And this trader sells some very potent items indeed, including a banana and mango sapling. Now we really needed the banana sapling, especially if you wanted to make the warp obelisk later on, but we also needed a banana to get our hands on more golden walnuts later, so we wanted to unlock that as quickly as possible. The strawberries were ready again, and I decided to move all of my furnaces now from the farm into the main hub area here of the mines. There's just a lot more space when it comes to smelting stuff. I'm now farming floor 81 of the mines again, but this time I have the Haymaker enchant, so I'm getting a lot more fibre now per floor than I used to get before. I also get hay, which is useless to me, and the hay doesn't sell for anything, so I just discard the hay every day. No worries there. I made more tree fertilizer. I'm going to fertilize all these trees now in the quarry so they all fully grow up in the next few days. Then I get to cut all those down to get thousands of wood. We're back down into the regular mines today. I'm looking for copper because I need to make more kegs. I need at least 50 copper bars to keep up with the production of the kegs. I'm also killing dust sprites if I see them because I also need coal to smelt the bars. I find myself struggling with coal now at the moment because I'm smelting so many bars to make kegs. It's constantly smelting bars, gold bars for sprinklers, copper and iron bars for kegs. I did get my sweet gem berry today, and I also got battery packs because we had lightning the day before. I can make more iridium sprinklers now with those battery packs. I'm going to cut down all these mahogany trees. I don't need the hardwood anymore for the hull fix, but I can use the hardwood for maybe a stables later on. I brought the sweet gem berry to the secret woods, got my second star drop there, quite happy with that. It's time to upgrade our hoe now to a steel hoe. We need an upgraded hoe in order to facilitate the planting of thousands and thousands of pumpkins when we get to fall. And it is going to be quite insane to see how many pumpkins we buy, and that's just a few days away. So we got more iron ores today. It's time to process our starfruit into starfruit wine. So as we can see, I put all my kegs just outside of the farm there. No NPC goes there, so it's a safe zone. We're doing another Skull Cavern run today because I needed a lot more resources. Skull Cavern is a great place for all of the minerals. So for the copper, the coal, the iron, the gold, the iridium, Skull Cavern's the place to go. We're going to go with blacksmith. Bars are worth more. Iridium bars now sell for 1500 gold a pop, which is amazing. 40 more kegs made today. So I'm quite happy with the progression on kegs. But we will have to increase that production line very soon. The strawberries have come back to life. It's time to harvest those. And we're putting more kegs down in the tunnel area here. The tunnel area is a great place for kegs because no NPCs come here. So you don't have to worry about the NPCs destroying your lovely processing equipment. We're smelting more ores into bars. And we got our lovely steel hoe off Clint. But we're not finished there. He's getting that hoe straight back. We're going to upgrade it to a gold hoe. So, it was time to blow away all the trees in the quarry. This is going to get us hundreds upon hundreds of wood, which we need to make kegs. So it's very important to stay on top of these resources, because by the time comes when the tappers are ready to give the oak resins, you want to be able to have the resources at hand to make the kegs straight away. So most of these iridium bars now will be turned into iridium sprinklers because we still have a lot of farm space left over in the Stardew Valley farm. And iridium sprinklers are the secret to success when it comes to making millions of gold, because the more of these sprinklers you put down, the more space you have on your farm to plant crops. And we want to use up all of the space that this farm has to offer. So we're starting our preparations now. This is the final week of summer. We need to start now to prep the farm properly for pumpkins, because we're literally going to be filling up this farm with pumpkins. I'm at 610 wild seeds today. That is going to make for an absolute huge amount of tea saplings, provided of course I have the resources to make it. So again, it's down to wood and fibre to make those. So I'm going to purchase thousands of wheat off beer today, and the reason why I'm getting it today is because I want placeholder land come the start of fall. So I'm going to plant the wheat today in patches that isn't growing starfruit, just to get the land ready so I don't have to hoe it up and water it come the start of fall. I can just buy the pumpkin seeds, plant them, and it'll be a lovely easy first day. So now is the time for preparation. Now is also the time to make more tea saplings. 80 tea saplings in total. That's going to be an extra 40,000 gold right there. We do need a few 100,000 gold to purchase thousands of pumpkins. I also got my gold hoe, so I'm on the right track now to make the most of fall. It's also time to donate a lot more artifacts to Gunther, because now is the time we kind of want to be getting access to the swords so we can get our hands on that lovely Statue of Uncertainty and of course Krobus. So I spent the rest of the day just planting wheat seeds. Now it's only the 23rd, but I won't be sighting this away until the 1st of fall. I'm just getting this patch set up for fall so I don't have to hoe and water this patch. I'm doing the same with the patches over here that don't have starfruit grown on them. I'm just going to fill the whole thing up with wheat, get this whole thing set up. It's a lot of work, but it's going to pay off. We will also profit from the wheat, so we're still going to make a lot of money out of it. And the more wheat we put down, the more money we're going to get back. Today was spent putting down a lot more quality sprinklers on the farm. If I had the resources to make iridium sprinklers, of course I would have put those down. But for now, I didn't have enough battery packs to make those, so quality sprinklers was the way to go. The rest of the day was spent just putting down wheat seeds, filling up the farm with tons and tons of wheat. The next day was another skull cavern run, and the reason why you're seeing so many skull cavern runs is because I constantly needed resources, especially to keep on top of the keg production, and that would only get harder as time progresses because more tree farms would be made, more oak resins would be produced. The next day was spent processing our lovely starfruit into starfruit wine. More kegs were put down in the tunnel here, and this tunnel will eventually be filled up to the top with kegs. More iridium sprinklers were made thanks to getting battery packs off those lovely bats in the skull cavern. More coffee beans were harvested today, and a lot of the wheat was ready to be harvested, but we won't be touching that until the 1st of fall. So it's now time to go to Clint. He is processing more geodes that we got in the skull cavern. Hopefully the more artifacts we get, the chances will increase of us getting the sword key off Gunther. It's now time to get Robin to make a stable for us, and the reason why I'm building a stable now is so I can get around the map faster to make much better use of my time. It's back to the quarry today. We are going to get rid of all of these nodes, then we're going to fill up the quarry again with trees, and we're going to blow them all down to get wood a few days from now. So the usual tactics here with the quarry. Now I could turn this into a resin farm, but I decided wood was more valuable at the moment. We're going to finish up summer with the lovely jellyfish event. Just look at the lovely visuals. The next day our prayers were answered. It is now the 1st of fall. We get the key off Gunther, we can now access the swords, we can get to the lovely Statue of Uncertainty, but first we had to clear away the wheat from the farm. We also had to buy pumpkin seeds and get those planted. Today was going to be a very busy day. Once all the wheat was cleared up, we're going to harvest our strawberries, sell the strawberries to Pierre, and we're going to purchase thousands upon thousands of pumpkins because we want to fill up the whole farm with pumpkins. Now the pumpkins aren't half as good as starfruit, but they are one of the best crops you can get when it comes to fall, when it comes to converting them into a processed good, an artisan good. Pumpkin juice is a very nice item to sell. Now it takes us the whole day to actually plant these pumpkin seeds, and we almost got caught for time, but we just about did it, and we managed to plant all of the seeds by fall the 2nd. Look at all of the pumpkin seeds now planted on the farm. Now there's a patch here that isn't ready just yet, but when that patch becomes available, we can put more pumpkins down there as well, no problem. It's now time for the lovely community quests. So we had a curious substance and we had Gus's famous omelette. We're going to go with the curious substance. We just got the ectoplasm there. It took us the whole day of killing ghosts to get that. It is a rare drop. We can now go to the wizard the next day, give him the ectoplasm, friendship points for him, but more importantly he is going to give us money for completing that quest. So that was basically farming for iron and getting the ectoplasm at the same time. We also go back to Ginger Island, and the frog here comes out to inspect our melon. He will also inspect our wheat, giving us 10 golden walnuts in total. Now he can give up to 15 golden walnuts, but we do not have any garlic for him to inspect. So for now we can just get the 10 golden walnuts off him. We do get an extra 5 golden walnuts from farming up crops here. And it's now time to go to the Statue of Uncertainty, pay 10,000 gold, change out our farming profession. So we're going to turn off agriculturist. We're going to get artisan because we need to sell some wines, because we need to make some money so we can get some more lovely goods. We're also going to do the quest here for the magical ink, just to get the wizard terminal ready, because we're now halfway through the challenge, so it's now time to start making some preparations when it comes to the wizard. So that is the Dark Talisman. That will allow us into a new area in the game that we'll go to in a few days. Before we leave the sewers, we try our hand at the mutant carp, another legendary fish. One of the easier legendary fish to catch. When we catch the mutant carp though, we don't stop there. We are in fall. There is another legendary fish we can catch, and that one is the anglerfish, and that is also another easy fish to catch as well. So that's the mutant carp in the bag. That'll sell for 1,000 or 2 gold. The angler will also sell for 1,000 or 2 gold as well, so bring on the money. Because we have the iridium robber, the trap bobber, level 10 fishing, most of these fish are quite easy. The big challenge though, with the glacier fish when we get into winter. That is going to be a challenge. So we're now respecing our farming profession. We're going to take tiller again, perhaps we're 10% more, but this time instead of taking agriculturist, we're going to take artisan. All artisan goods worth 40% more. This is an absolute must if you want to make millions of gold in your first year, especially if you're selling artisan products. We're also going to purchase a mill of Robin because I want to turn all the wheat that I have into a processed good so I can make more money from it. So I purchased 501 Starfruit seeds off Sandy today. I'm also going to get Deluxe Speed Grow. Now that's going to go on over to Ginger Island, and because the Ginger Island farm never really changes, the Speed Grow will never go away unless I pickaxe it away, which I won't be doing. This means all future starfruits that I plant on Ginger Island will grow much faster because of the Speed Grow, and the faster that starfruit grows, the more wine we can produce. So it's time for us to go cavern run today. I actually got 4 quality sprinklers inside the chest. Now you can get iridium sprinklers, but you know what? I won't say no to the quality sprinklers. The more sprinklers I can get, the better. At this moment in time, what I wanted the most was iridium sprinklers, so when I saw the bats, I used to take the time and kill them in the hopes that they would drop battery packs. Now it is quite a rare drop, but it's always worth giving it a go. Because if you're not in it, you can't win it, folks. We're processing more iridium ores into iridium bars. Most of those bars now will be sold, unless I get battery packs, of course. So I'm getting more lovely oak resins today. This means I can make more kegs. 40 more kegs. Good to go. Where are we going to put these? We're going to put them in the tunnel, of course. It is now time to get more strawberries. And these strawberries are just a game changer. The guaranteed money every few days, it makes life so much more easier. 546,000 gold in the bag. What are we going to do with that? We are going to buy some pumpkins. The rest of the gold can be saved for Starfruit for when the Ginger Island farm needs to be replenished. So we're going to scythe away all of this wheat here now, and eventually when the mill is built, which it is, we're going to convert all this wheat into wheat flour, and we can even turn that into bread, which will yield even more profits for us. So wheat actually isn't too bad when it comes to making money. It's back to selling now again today. 999 pieces of starfruit seeds, a full stack of starfruit seeds. I mean, it's just so nice to buy a full stack of starfruit like that, especially in the first year of fall, you know, to have the kind of resources to do that. That's why starfruit is just so overpowered. Starfruit wine is just in a league of its own, you know. There isn't really any other artisan good that can beat it. So I blew up all the trees in the quarry. The next day, I'm going to get back all the wheat flour. That wheat flour will be turned into bread. I could sell it now and make a big profit, but I'll make an even greater profit if I cook it into bread. So I need a cooker. I got Robin here to upgrade my house. Then I realised that was a total waste because the Ginger Island house already has a cooker in it. Not to worry though, I can use the extra space in the house for processing machines. So it wasn't all that bad. Clint did another upgrade for us, and then it was straight over to Ginger Island to make bread. And I made basically a full stack of bread here, 999 pieces, and I'm going to sell all that now to make loads of money. So I needed one more mineral to complete the gem bird puzzle. I just guessed it, and I got my golden walnuts. So I'm actually a lot closer now to getting 100 golden walnuts. I was also farming these lava dragons here for dragon tooths, because I needed 5 of those to get a banana sapling, and I needed the banana sapling now if I wanted to get the warp obelisk into Ginger Island. Thankfully, I had enough dragon teeth to make that happen. I also got the mango sapling as well, because I didn't have one. I didn't really need the mango, but I had the resources to get it, so I said why not. I also went over to the dig site here. I'm going to blow all these nodes up in the hopes to get more bone fragments. Bone fragments would be needed later on for taro roots, but I also blew up all the nodes in the hopes to get some artifacts for Professor Snail's artifact quest. I just fished up the fossilized spine there. I just needed a few more bits and pieces to get lots of golden walnuts off Professor Snail. The sweet gem berries were ready to be harvested today. I got 5 in total. As we can see there now, some are worth 3,000, some are worth 3,750, and some are worth 4,500. And an iridium star one sells for 6,000, but you need really good fertilizer to get those. I panned up a lucky ring today. Who needs panning with Poxial when you can just one-shot it with GamerGar? That is the second lucky ring added to my collection. 2 lucky rings in total, one from the Skull Cavern crates and one from panning over on Ginger Island. What great luck. I did a volcano dungeon run today, got the mermaid boots, one of the best boots you can get in the game. +5 defense, +4 immunity. Fantastic boots indeed. I just needed a few more golden walnuts now to get access to Key Secret Walnut Room. And those golden walnuts could still be gotten from mining, combat, and opening up the various chests and dwarven crates around the volcano dungeon. I did some ring combinations today, combined a lucky ring with my iridium band, and I also enchanted my gold pickaxe. I was hoping for swift or powerful, but I got efficient, which is probably the least one that I needed. I was hoping for bottomless with the watering can, but I also got efficient. Not very happy with that, to be honest. But not to worry, efficient just means that I won't use up any energy when using the tools. So how bad could it be? It was time for the prismatic jelly quest here now, and I spent a whole day trying to find this cursed slime. It eventually popped up, but this slime is not to be underestimated. It packs quite the punch and it has a lot of HP. So if you see it even on the early floors, do not underestimate the slime. It could actually kill you, wasting your whole attempt on trying to find it. It was time to pull up more lovely strawberries. Then we're going to visit the wizard. We're going to give him the prismatic jelly, and he is going to give us 5,000 gold plus a lovely recipe the next day to say thanks. We get our iridium axe off Clint today. Thank you very much, Clint. It's time to upgrade more tools though. We're going to go with the iridium pickaxe this time. So I prioritized the axe over the pickaxe because wood is just more valuable to me than that of the ores, because I can just primarily use bombs for the ores in Skull Cavern, but I needed the iridium axe so I could basically two-shot trees to farm wood much faster. So that's why I decided to upgrade the axe to its maximum potential before the pickaxe. It was time to process more Starfruit into Starfruit wine, and you're going to see a lot more processing now, especially come winter when we have hundreds of cakes to work with. So I spent the rest of the day running around Cindersap Forest, cutting down all the trees. Because I had my iridium axe, it didn't take me that long to cut down all the trees in the forest. The next day I made some more tappers. I'm going to set these up now on all of the trees that I have on the farm. We're also going to go to Pierre. I'm going to sell him this batch of Starfruit wines, and the reason why I did that is because I need that 650,000 gold to buy more Starfruit to fill up Ginger Island. It was time to change up our professions again with the Statue of Uncertainty. I also purchased a star job off Krobus and processing some ancient fruit into ancient fruit seeds just so I could put more down on the Ginger Island. The more ancient fruits I can get now, the better. More gem birds mean more minerals. That's more gold for me. But I spent the whole day cutting down trees because I needed more wood for more cakes. Story of my life, more cakes. Level 10 foraging, we're going to take botanist. All forageables picked up will be of iridium quality. It was now time to harvest all of the pumpkins today. It was going to be an extremely challenging task to harvest all these in just one day. I had to start straight away and it took me the whole day to do it. I actually had to take a speed buff in order for it to, become possible. So I had to take a spicy eel there. I was considering a triple shot espresso, but I managed to do it just fine with the spicy eel. Halfway through my attempt, I had to go to Pierre's and pick up more pumpkin seeds. And this is why I needed all the money as well. This is why I sold that batch of Starfruit wine, because I needed to put more pumpkins on the farm. And I needed approximately 2,500 pumpkins to fill up the farm with. This time I had to take the spicy eel and the triple shot espresso to get this done with the time that I had left. Otherwise it just wouldn't have been possible. This was very stressful, I had to say, but it's going to be worth it, and it is going to pay off at the end of the challenge. So I got my iridium pickaxe off Clint today. I then decided to purchase some resources off of him. I decided to purchase coal. Now coal is very expensive, but I was really struggling when it comes to coal. I didn't want to waste days just farming dust sprites, so I decided to just spend some money and buy half a stack of coal off Clint. That would keep me going for the rest of the challenge, definitely. It was then time to process more bars so I could make more cakes. After the Ginger Island, we're going to pull up all this lovely starfruit. This will of course be converted into starfruit wine, and then we have to replant the whole of the Ginger Island farm as well. Now when I replanted the farm, I decided to take up all of the quality sprinklers and replace them with iridium sprinklers since I had some on me. This meant I could now maximize starfruit output on the Ginger Island farm, and this makes most challenges trivial, especially when it comes to money challenges, because having a huge starfruit greenhouse like this all year round, you know, making money becomes trivial. The only thing that we had to do now is keep up with the starfruit, so we had to keep up with the cakes, keep up with the processing machines. So I got the last artifact needed to complete one of Professor Snail's big fossils. That was going to give me a lot of golden walnuts there. Thanks to Clint for breaking it open out of a golden coconut. So that was 7 golden walnuts in total, plus an extra banana sapling, which was great. I got the rare mushroom floor in the volcano dungeon. Super happy with this. And you have to watch out when you're in this floor, because sometimes some of those mushrooms can be enemies and they can try to attack you. It was time to combine more rings. I had a phoenix ring here and I had a lucky ring, so that was another nice ring combination done. So I was now set up in terms of ring combinations. I also decided to put 3 rubies into my galaxy sword, dramatically increasing its attack power now to 78 to 104 damage. So it was quite the weapon that I had. All I needed now was galaxy souls to turn it into an infinity blade. I wasn't too sure at this stage of the challenge though if I was going to invest in galaxy souls. It would all come down to what kind of quests I'd get in the key secret walnut room. I did fix up the resort area here now on Ginger Island. I could now access the right hand side of the map, which yielded more golden walnuts for me. So you can fish one up here from this pattern here that looks like a star. You can hold one up just to the top right hand side of that star, and you can also get another golden walnut inside here at the bottom right hand of the corner. There's a little dirt patch where you can get a third golden walnut there. It was time now to get some taro tubers in order for us to complete that quest that Caroline gave us. If we can complete that quest now for Caroline, she will give us a recipe for the solar panel, and that means we can mass produce battery packs if we so wish, if we want to literally fill up our Stardew Valley farm with iridium sprinklers. Solar panels are the way to go. We can also sell battery packs too for nice money. I had 99 out of 100 golden walnuts. I just needed one more to get in to Mr. Key's secret walnut room, so we're going to be in there now very soon. I decided to process more starfruit into starfruit wine, so that took a while now each day to do, because the more kegs that I made, the more time it took to process starfruit. I also got first place in the Stardew Valley Fair. I took all the items away from the stand. I then gambled all of my star tokens on green. I got super lucky, one each time of course, and all of these star tokens then can be used to purchase some exclusive rewards at Stardew Valley Fair vendor, including a star drop, which is one more in the bag for us. I also purchased the fedora hat, which I don't actually wear. I got the rare crow, the dried sunflowers, and the light green rug. Now, the hay is actually quite handy to get if you have animals, you know, and if you have the star tokens to spare. It's actually a nice boon to have there. It was time now to take on Mr. Key's quests. So there's just some cool dialogue here from Mr. Key, saying well done for collecting over 100 golden walnuts. We had a choice between the Prismatic Grange and the Skull Cavern Invasion. I went with Skull Cavern Invasion for one reason: radioactive ores. You can turn those into radioactive bars. That means you can make endgame items. You can also sell the bars for 4,500 gold a pop. So Skull Cavern Invasion was a no-brainer for us, and because we had a nice strong weapon, and because we have loads of gold to spend on consumables, such as salads, etc., the Skull Cavern Invasion wouldn't be too difficult as long as you go in somewhat prepared. It's actually a very great place to farm resources. Look at all of the gold ores here. I mean, I didn't really need a whole lot of gold bars now anymore because I just needed them primarily to make quality sprinklers. But I could sell the gold bars for money, no problem. The radioactive ores though were a top priority. If I saw a radioactive node, I would get it no problem at all. I did get a dark cowboy hat here in one of the treasure floors, which was cool. I swapped out my straw hat for that. There can of course be only one straw hat Luffy after all. Who am I to imitate such a legendary pirate? Anyways, back to Stardew Valley. So when I got to level 10 combat, I had a choice between Brute and Defender. We're going to take Brute. 15% more damage is a no-brainer. Combine that with the 10% from the first perk and the 10% from the Iridium Band, we can now dish out substantial damage to most enemies in the game. Today started with the collection of lovely oak resins, followed up by using our lovely axe to break open these giant pumpkins. These are mutated crops, and this can happen on any 3x3 tiles. So the more 3x3 tiles you have of pumpkins, the greater chance you have of them becoming a mutated pumpkin. And mutated giant pumpkins not only survive through each season, but they also yield a lot more than 9 crops. So mutated crops are pretty cool. It's a rare sight in Stardew Valley, but it's always nice when you get it. So the next day we're going to go back to Ginger Island. We're going to put more kegs down in our Ginger Island house. All of these will be processing primarily Starfruit into Starfruit wine. If we run out of Starfruit, we'll switch over to pumpkins, but Starfruit will always take priority because the profit margins are just far greater. I also went into the witch's secret lair and I fished up a void mayonnaise. I'm going to give that to the henchman here. I always call him the goblin, but the NPC is actually pronounced henchman. I hope in the new update, Concerned AF will give more dialogue to that henchman, and maybe we can befriend the henchman and marry the henchman and have kids with the henchman, but we'll see sure what happens. So you're probably noticing a trend now where a lot more processing is happening. That's because we have a lot more kegs. So especially come winter, you're going to see a lot more processing because that's just what we have to do to make millions of gold. It is simply farm, process, make more processing machines, rinse and repeat. That's all we're going to be doing from here on out. We're going to be putting up all these crops. Now we're going to sell the taro roots because that's part of a quest for Caroline to get the solar panels. Not only will we get lots of money for the taro roots, Caroline will also give us lots of reward money as well. So I'm spending all my money on Starfruit seeds today. 956 Starfruit seeds right there. They're all going to go back into Ginger Island. We make copper bars today for more cakes, and it's back, of course, to the secret woods to get more hardwood. Why are we getting more hardwood? We need it for some of the endgame items that we're going to make later on. So I got the solar panel off Caroline there, along with some 5,500 gold. Thank you very much, Caroline. Now I don't end up making solar panels because I've reached the stage of the game now where Ginger Island is filled up to the top with iridium sprinklers. We're almost at the end of fall. There's no point making more iridium sprinklers because you can't grow that many crops in winter. You can only kind of grow the forageables, and there's no point, you know, wasting resources on iridium sprinklers for winter forageables, in my opinion. So we're going to put more kegs down in the greenhouse, and now we are going to get our last batch of pumpkins before fall comes to an end. Look at all these pumpkins that we get to collect. Let's just drive around here in our speeder vehicle and take a nice look at all of these lovely pumpkin crops ready to be harvested. We also got very lucky and we got a lot of mutated crops as well that we get to break open with the axe. I was considering leaving the mutated pumpkins there just to make the winter farm look a bit nicer, but I said, you know what, this is a money challenge, so we're going to cut them down with the axe and we're going to sell them. If we can't process all of the pumpkins by the end of the year, we just sell the pumpkins and make money that way as well. The great thing about the mutated pumpkins is that they're impervious to crows. They cannot be destroyed. They are an invincible crop. Nothing will ever destroy your mutated crop. Absolutely nothing. It's time to make more wheat seeds. And the reason why I'm making wheat seeds is because I don't have time to grow pumpkins, and I could just turn the wheat back into wheat flour. I can turn that back into bread and I can sell that for a huge profit. Because I had so many slots available on the farm, it was actually worth my time to plant the wheat and sell it, because I get a lot of gold back. Now I had to take a spicy eel and a supersonic espresso to move way faster to actually get all of this wheat planted in the time that was left in the day. The next day, we have a lovely tree farm ready to go. Tappers will be equipped to those trees, we're going to collect our lovely strawberries today, and it's time for the key quest we had with the Prismatic Grange again and Skull Cavern Invasion again. So we're going to go with Skull Cavern Invasion, so we can get our hands on more radioactive ores. I'm also going to purchase the Heavy Tapper recipe. Now, it is very expensive to make hardwood and radioactive bars, however, it is a game changer for us because it will generate oak resins twice as fast as a regular tapper. So the more heavy tappers we can make, the more kegs we can make, the more money we can make by the end of the year. All of those extra radioactive ores means more heavy tappers for us. Now, eventually there will come a stage where I might decide to just sell the radioactive bars because they're worth so much money. But we'll see what happens in the next few days of the challenge. I got some pretty good rewards in the Skull Caverns today. 10 bombs is actually very nice because I use bombs all the time to blow the ores open. The next day we're back to the regular mines. We're just smelting ores into bars now today, but we're getting radioactive bars. So bring on the money. We're going to go to Clint now, sell him the iridium bars, that's 93,000 gold, and I'm going to buy iron ore. And the reason why I'm buying iron ore is because I don't have a whole lot of iron left. I have lots of copper, lots of gold, but very little iron, and I needed iron to make more kegs. Because if I didn't get a certain amount of kegs made, you know, by the time it comes to winter, I simply just wouldn't have enough items processed to make the 10 million gold to get the gold clock and to get the obelisks. So I needed to spend money on resources to keep up with keg production. That was extremely important. All of these wines I'm collecting now will just be stored away and they'll be sold at the end of the challenge. It's going to be very interesting to see how much we get for all of these artisan goods when they're all sold in huge bulk. It's going to make for a very nice and impressive number when we come to the end of this challenge. We are getting to the end of this challenge. We're now almost at the end of fall, so we're going to be in winter very soon. So we're now going to process all of this wheat back into wheat flour. So as we can see now, our money making tactics have more or less been refined into just a few little techniques of just planting tons of starfruit, planting tons of pumpkins, processing those and selling those. And if there's only a few days left in the season, we'll just buy crops that we know will grow in time for us to harvest before the next season comes in, before those crops are redundant. So we're getting more radioactive bars today, we're getting iron bars. Things are looking pretty good for us now at the moment. We now have a lot of iron bars and copper bars and wood to make more kegs. I'm going to get the community cleanup quest today. There was only one day to do it though, because I totally forgot about it a few days ago because I was so fixated on doing the key quests and doing other things. So I spent the whole day fishing up by the bad house because you're guaranteed to only get trash from this water. That night I managed to fish up 20 pieces of trash in total, completing the quest community cleanup. This rewards me with 500 gold. What a game changer. The real reward will be what Linus gives us the next day. I accidentally sold the wheat flour. I totally forgot to convert that into bread. Not to worry though, we still have lots more stuff to sell to complete the challenge. The bread will not be a make it or break it for us, I can guarantee you that. I got the magnifying glass off Krobus today. I also decided to take the cave patrol quest for Clint here. We're going to kill some skeletons for him. It's just because I needed to farm more iron ores, so it only makes sense to kill skeletons when I'm farming ores, just to hit two birds with the one stone. Back down into Ginger Island, we're pulling up more starfruit now today. This is going to be another full starfruit batch to be processed. It's going to take a lot more kegs to get through it. I do have a lot of starfruit in reserve, so I can fill up the farm again straight away to keep the starfruit flowing. We're going to pick up another key quest. We have Keys Crop or Prismatic Grange. There's no way I was doing Keys Crop. I just didn't have the space for it. So I'm going to take the Prismatic Grange, 100 of the red, orange, yellow, green and blue items, and purple of course. And I'm going to show you a very easy trick now to get that quest complete in the next few seconds. But first, we're going to process more iron ores into iron bars, because we need a lot more iron bars to make a lot more kegs. The usual story. So for red, we're going to go with cherry bombs. I didn't really have anything else for red, and I had lots of money. For blue, we're going with Joja Colas. Now, if you don't have the Joja Mart unlocked, if you went the community centre route, you can just get Joja Colas from the cola machine in the Stardrop Saloon. I'm collecting oak resins now today, but I'm not going to use those for green. I'm going to use fibre instead for those. I'll use sap for yellow. It's now time to process more starfruit into starfruit wines. I was processing pumpkins to pumpkin juices, but because I had so much starfruit saved up from Ginger Island, I decided to not use the pumpkins right now and just use the starfruit instead. The pumpkins can wait, and we will only use the pumpkins once we have no starfruit left. It just means we can make more money that way. So the rest of the day is spent just killing skeletons, killing dust sprites for coal, and if we see iron ore we'll grab that as well. It's just an extra bonus for us. So it was another day of grinding out resources in the Stardew Valley regular mines. I was hoping to get the key quest to get the hardened version of the mines. Let's see what the next few weeks have in store for us in relation to key quests. 6,000 gold isn't bad for slaying 50 skeletons. The Geode Crusher is actually a really nice item if you make it in huge quantities. And it's great just spamming all of the Omni Geodes or Magma Geodes to see what kind of artifacts you can get from them, you know? So it actually makes for a very nice strategy when it comes to making huge profits with artifacts. The Geode Crusher is a must-have for that. So we're slaying bugs today, farming copper ores, and collecting bug meat because I'm going to use that for the key quest. So the items I'm putting in here now are fiber, bug meat, sap, Joja Colas, and cherry bombs, and that's an easy quest completed right there. So with the rewards now, I'm going to get pressure nozzles. You get 4 pressure nozzles for 20 key gems. So I'm going to get a couple of stacks of those, and that will increase the range of my iridium sprinklers over on Ginger Island. That means I can plant more starfruit and make more money. The heavy tappers are doing great. They generate resins now just every couple of days. I had to buy wood from Robin today because I was lacking on wood, and I've kind of been neglecting the quarry when it comes to blowing down trees. Wood is very cheap in year 1 anyway, so I just spent a few 100,000 gold, got some stacks of wood off Robin, and I built a shed as well to store more cakes into, because I had lots of space now on the farm come winter, and I wasn't going to fill it up with crops or anything like that. I also filled up the quarry with seeds, so I didn't have to buy more wood off Robin. These trees will grow in winter as long as they're fertilised. I made almost 100,000 gold today, primarily from selling iridium bars, 1,500 gold a pop. The gold bars aren't even that bad, 375 gold, and I had so many gold ores. It just made sense to smelt them and sell them because I wasn't making any more quarry sprinklers with gold bars, and I didn't really need gold bars for anything else at the moment, so I just sold them for extra money. The next day it was back to collecting oak resins, and that meant just one thing. That's right folks, we're making more kegs. So all these kegs now are going to be placed in the newly built shed that Robin is building for us. The desert is a nice place to go to get forageables, but also to get some wood if you're stuck for it. And I was stuck for wood at the moment. Now I could buy more wood off Robin, but I needed to start to save now because we're now in winter and I needed to build up huge amounts of money if I was going to get the golden clock and all 4 warp obelisks. I decided to start a little winter foraging farm now, just for something else to do while I was waiting for the kegs to process all of the lovely goods. It was now time to enchant my fishing rod. I got master, that gives me an extra fishing skill, which is great. I also had the wild bait. There's a chance I can put up 2 fish instead of 1, and I'm going to spend the whole day pulling up lava eels. This is by far the best area in the game for fishing. If you come here with the wild bait, with a trap bobber, with an iridium rod enchanted up to the top, you're going to get tons of lava eels. You can make easily over 150,000 gold a day from fishing. So fishing endgame is quite potent when it comes to money making. So I collected all the pumpkin juice in my greenhouse and did the fishing event today. I lost this event because I was too focused on watching anime on Crunchyroll than actually fishing. But it doesn't really matter because Willy only gives you a few little pieces that you can attach to your fishing rod. So, you know, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference in terms of how this challenge is going to turn out. I did go to Sandy today though. Another huge batch of starfruit seeds right there, 831. It was time for another community quest, tropical fish. So we have to catch 5 of each of the Ginger Island specific fish. That was the lionfish, the blue discus and the stingrays. But first we're going to pull up all this lovely starfruit on Ginger Island and then plant a new healthy batch right back into the ground. Then it was back to the quarry. I'm going to blow up all of these trees, collect all the wood. That means we're now good to go for the next few batches of kegs when they become available. The heavy tappers are doing their thing. I also decided to pickaxe up all of these sprinklers and I'm going to sell them to make money because I don't need them anymore. Today was spent doing a tropical fish quest. Now this quest doesn't give you a whole lot of gold, but at the moment primarily I was just waiting for stuff to finish. So I was just waiting on the kegs, waiting on the tappers. So I would just do all these extra chores just to kind of pass time. I mean, I could have just done a few tasks here and there and went to bed, went into the next day, but I wanted to make the most out of each day. Even if that meant just getting a few extra 1,000 gold, it was still extra gold in my pocket. and I really wanted to complete the challenge this time because I did attempt to get the gold clock within 100 days in a previous 100-day challenge video. But because I've done a lot more challenges, I felt that my skills have been greatly enhanced, and I felt that if I did a full year, not only could I get the gold clock, but I could get all 4 warp obelisks as well. And we're going to know now how well we did in the next few days because we're now halfway through winter. Almost halfway through winter. Today was another day of fishing up lava eels, 108,000 gold. Lava eels are just trivial when it comes to fishing them up if you have all the fishing perks. The next day it was time to pick up all of our lovely winter forageables. These would be converted back into winter wild seeds and they'd be put back into the ground. And of course, like the previous 3 seasons, this method would be repeated over and over again until we end up with a giant farm of winter forageables. And because it was winter, it dawned on me that I actually didn't catch the legendary fish of this season, which was the glacier fish. I caught it there first attempt. It wasn't that difficult, but I have tried to catch this fish in the past, and it can be, depending on how RNG goes, extremely difficult to catch. It is as hard as the legend fish. I also finished off the tropical fish quest by getting the 5 stingray today. Once they were caught, I got 2500 gold off Willy. He'll also send me a fish tank the next day, which makes for a really cool decoration. All that was left now to finish off winter was to just get all of these items processed. All of the starfruit, all of the pumpkins, make as many kegs as possible, collect as much resources as I could to make as much kegs as possible. I had 3 farms set up to make oak resins. I had lots of ores from the original cavern runs. It was time for another key quest. I wasn't doing keys craft. There was Let's Play a game which I've never been able to complete before. You had to beat Merluz to score the 50,000. I'm just going to show footage of one attempt. I'm going to speed it up here just to show me doing a few levels before I fail miserably. So when it comes to beating Merluz, you only have 1 life. If you die, that's it, you have to start from the start. If you collect all the fruit on each level, you do get a massive bonus score at the end, which is what you want. You have to beat 50,000. So if you can get all the fruit on the first 3 levels, you actually can get up to a good kind of between 35 and 40,000 when you get to level 4. So you could potentially beat it by just clearing 4 levels. So I purchased spicy eels off Gus today. We're preparing for another Skull Cavern run. And I got really lucky today, and this never happened before. I got 4 holes in close proximity. So I got down 8 levels there. It doesn't matter what hole you take, they're all the exact same. It was time to get more resources. Iridium ores were definitely on the table today because iridium bars sell for 1500 gold a pop. So the more iridium I got now, the more money I can make. And because we are now just past halfway through winter, I just wanted to make as much money as possible. Now I just got 1 level there on that hole because I was on floor 99, and the game will always hard cap you on floor 100 before it kind of opens up the holes again for you. The more prismatic shards I got now, the better. They sell for really nice money. And the next day, of course, the strawberries were back. Now I could have very easily swapped out these strawberries for starfruit and made even more money, but the reason why I kept the strawberries was because they only regrew every 4 days, and there were times where I needed maybe 5,000 gold or 10,000 gold for a tool upgrade. If I had starfruit inside the greenhouse instead of strawberries, I'd be waiting maybe, 10 or 11 days for that starfruit to grow, so I wouldn't have the same access to money. So my advice is to just keep the strawberries in the greenhouse for the whole year. If you end up with millions of gold and you want to make a lot more, you could then consider swapping out the strawberries for starfruit. But it's totally up to yourself, everyone has their own different play styles when it comes to making money in this game. Speaking of making money, I had to take a speed buff now tonight to finish off planting all of the starfruit before the day came to an end, and we've just managed to do that today. The next day, the tappers were ready again, and all of the kegs on our lovely Stardew Valley farm were ready to be collected. I also went into the regular mines to smelt more ores into bars. I was still making more kegs. So this was primarily going to be the last batch of kegs I was going to make, because we're almost finished winter, and starfruit does take a very long time to make. That's 86 more kegs. Now I did buy more wood off Robin, and at the time I was considering making more kegs, but all I wanted to do for now was to just fill out the Ginger Island farm with as much processing machines as possible. And the beach here at the bottom of your farm is a great place for processing machines because nobody comes down here. So you can just fill it up with kegs. You can't grow crops down there, so you might as well just put processing machines down there, in my opinion. I went with 4 precious stones today for the keys quests, 40 key gems for completing that, and I had tons of prismatic shards. I'm at 420,000 gold today, primarily just from selling iridium bars, 278 in total from doing all those skull cavern runs. Today it was harvesting lovely winter forageables. I'm going to pick those all up, turn them all into winter wild seeds, and I'm going to plant them straight back down on the farm. I had quality sprinklers to burn, so I just took some out of the chest and put it back down on the ground. Now at this stage in the game I wasn't really thinking about making any more cakes, but I did create a backup plan just in case. And I said, you know what, I'm going to make one more tree farm in the quarry, just in case I needed more wood very quickly, and I didn't want to go to Robin and buy wood, or needed wood in a pinch. So I gave Mr. Key 4 prismatic shards, got some key gems off him. It was time to treat myself to some hoppers. I purchased 5 hoppers. Now I didn't purchase them to use them, I purchased them to deconstruct them, because you get back a radioactive bar every time you deconstruct a hopper, and if you have the blacksmith perk, you get 4,500 gold for each radioactive bar. So basically one hopper is worth 4,500 gold if you have a deconstructor, and that's really nice money, especially if you had tons of key gems, if you had tons of deconstructors, and if you had tons of hoppers, you could make loads of money very quickly. The rest of the day was spent processing, and then it was back up to the volcano dungeon, fishing at the summit, pulling up lava eels for even more money. And as you can see, our money is growing slowly but surely. I have 800,000 gold there now at the moment. Time for another key quest, Keys Hungry Challenge. And this is a tough one because you have to get down 100 floors without taking any consumables. The trick here is to take buffs before you go into the skull cavern. And if you need health in the skull cavern, you can actually get it from killing slimes, the big slimes. But I'll show footage of that now in a second. I bought bombs here after dwarf just so I could blow some ores up, and I went down to farm iron ores in the regular mines today just to prep so I can make more bombs for Keys Hungry Challenge that we're going to do the next day. So today was just a day of farming iron ores. The next day we're doing Keys Hungry Challenge. I got a lovely hat there. Now this is a large slime with a heart inside it that gives you back 10 health. That's how you accumulate health when you're doing Keys Hungry Challenge. You just kill those big slimes. Because I got the secret letter that says come down to floor 100, I got iridium juice there that increases my health by 25. That was really nice. So that's a really nice prize when you get to floor 100. Any other time now when you get to floor 100, you just get a treasure chest instead. So today was a great day. I got loads of iridium ores, loads of prismatic shards, loads of gold, loads of iron, loads of copper. Didn't need iron or copper anymore. I just wanted iridium ores now. I wanted prismatic shards to sell for gold. So I'm going to process all these ores now into bars, sell these. I'm going to convert all of these pumpkins out into pumpkin juices because I've run out of starfruit, believe it or not. I finally caught up. All the starfruit is gone. Now I do have some grown on Ginger Island, but for now we just have pumpkins, and that's what we're going to process into pumpkin juice. We're going to go to the lovely Statue of Uncertainty, switch up the farming profession again, get Artisan because we want to start selling our wines now to see how much money we're going to get. We're also going to attend the Winter Start event. I'm going to give Alex a prismatic shard. He's super happy. Giving NPCs loved gifts at this event gives you a huge friendship multiplier. Absolutely huge. So I got Penny. Penny was my Secret Santa. She can be a ruby. Not too bad. Got Alex up to 2.5 hearts there just giving him one gift. That's how good the Winter Start event actually is. This is going to be our very last Starfruit harvest on Ginger Island. So I wasn't going to process all these Starfruits in time because there's only 2 days left in the challenge. So all of those Starfruits will be sold. All of these iridium bars will be sold. It's now time to start selling stuff because we're almost finished. All of these thousands upon thousands of pumpkins, you know, I didn't get to process these because I was so busy processing the Starfruit over on Ginger Island. So I'm just going to sell all the pumpkins the way they are. Now I do have the farming perk where crops are worth 10% more. That is a must have, especially if you're selling thousands of crops. I do deconstruct my warp totems. I get honey back for that. All of these oak resins that I'm collecting now will also be sold. There's no point making more kegs now, you know, because we're so close to finishing. So we're going to blow all the trees down in the quarry. We're going to sell all the wood. We're going to sell everything we have because I want to see how much money I can make in year 1. That's the whole essence of this challenge. And because we're now so close to completing the challenge, it's a very exciting time for me, especially when I was playing through it myself, because at this moment in time, I didn't know how much money I was going to make. I made 2.1 million gold today just from selling raw materials, pumpkins, starfruit. But look at the starfruit unprocessed. A gold starfruit, 1,237 gold. That's crazy money altogether. And that's why starfruit is unrivaled when it comes to crops in this game. The starfruit is probably one of, if not the best, moneymaker crop in the game. Today we're collecting items from kegs. We're not filling up the kegs though. I'm also going to pickaxe up all of these sprinklers and sell them. I'm going to sell everything. Today was going to be spent just selling stuff. Look at all these things here. These are going to be used to make warp obelisks. I have a little chest over here now, filled up with items needed to make the 4 warp obelisks. I had 3 million gold on me. That's enough to complete one of the goals I've set out in this video, which was to make 4 warp obelisks. So these warp obelisks look a little bit different to the ones you see because of a mod that we're using, and I think the mod is the Japanese buildings mod. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think that is the mod that is responsible for making those 2 of the 4 obelisks look a bit different. But that is the first goal completed. 4 warp obelisks have been purchased. What we have to do now is accumulate over 10 million gold to make the gold clock, and at this stage in the game I just don't think I have enough resources to actually make it, but we will know for sure at the end of this day when we sell all of these wines that we have accumulated. We also have to remember that we now have the Artisan perk. We have stacks of starfruit wine and pumpkin juice. It's time to sell them all to Pierre to see what we're going to get. And there we have it, folks. We did it. We made over 11 million gold. We could get the gold clock. What an achievement to play 1 year of this game and unlock the gold clock plus 4 warp obelisks. What a flex. If, you know, I'm not trying to flex, but in all fairness, it is quite the achievement, and I don't think many content creators could pull off such a feat. Of course, it's not a challenge to any content creators out there, but still, 17,328,487 gold made on the ultimate farm in year 1. Thanks everyone for watching my video. If you've stuck with it this far, thanks a million for watching. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you for taking the time to watch my content. So stick around, subscribe to the channel if you like content like this, because there's going to be a lot more in the future. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.